snacks.
What it do, snackers and snackettes, snack X's? It's your boy Gage. Sin and Jokes are in the building for sure.
Yes, sir.
And we are joined by amazing artist, Miss Penelope Gaylord.
Hello.
Penny, how are you, dear?
I am good. How
Awesome.
are all of you guys?
You know,
Pretty
just
good.
East Coast living.
We are good.
You know what I mean?
Hey, look who pops up
What
in the
up,
chat.
Jerry?
My number one fan.
Is that your number one fan? I can believe
I
that.
think so.
Yeah?
Just a little bit.
He
That's-
holds the
that's-
top
that's-
spot.
I can imagine. I can imagine. I don't think he has a choice. Have you threatened him?
No, it doesn't. It's not necessary. It's a he knows.
Nope, not even
Okay.
needed. I dig it.
Not needed.
I dig it. Hey, so Penny, first of all, thank you for joining us. I know, West Coast time, East Coast time, y'all on the other side of the country. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Jerry, you too. You had to leave work.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like I had to step out. You know what I mean? Oh, we know she's got some diehard fans. There's no two ways about it.
For
We
sure.
are some of them. You are
Very
some
true.
of them. Penny, there are a couple of reasons why we asked you to join us today. One of which is because you're awesome, but it's also Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
It is that.
And that's super important to us. So we wanted to make sure that we take a moment to highlight some of the voices from that community, talk about their artwork and the things they're doing, and so forth. And so, of course, we thought of you.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, we already liked you anyway. But
Right.
I had a
You
leg
know?
up on the competition. That's cool.
yeah, a little bit. J. Robert Deans is excited to see you.
It wasn't me. I know you guys think it wasn't me though.
Nah,
This
it
actually wasn't me.
Nah, it wasn't. Listen, jokes didn't mess up this time. It was me. You know what I mean? I had everything updated, but I didn't hit the update button. Sin asked me, "Is everything
He
updated?" I was like,
did. It's good
and
to
it
go.
was, but I didn't hit the button. You know what I mean? Like it was my fault. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. What's up, Heather? So listen, a couple things I want to do. First, I want to talk about you, Penny. I want to talk about you and what you do. I don't know if I want to talk about how you do it. I don't know if you could describe how you do what you do.
That's a lot.
What's up, Marcus? But yeah, I want to talk about you and who you are and what you do, so that everybody who is in the chat and is watching along or watches later knows exactly who you are. So please tell folks a little bit about what you do.
Sure. First, I want to say hi, Mrs. Dorch. I see her thing there. I don't want to leave her out. She's a
Nope.
very important person.
Mhm.
And then before I even get into me, I just want to say thank you guys for letting me join you. It's very important to highlight. I mean, obviously, on a personal level, it's important to highlight Asian voices, especially during
Sure.
this time.
Yeah.
With all the crazy stuff that's happening. Like I see it all the time on my feed. I don't know what's going on in these major cities and why this hate crimes are happening against Asians.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that you guys are, using your platform to,
Yeah.
give voice to that. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
it very much.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
But yeah, so I am Penelope. I do character designs. I've drawn books. I'm an illustrator, character designer. So I've worked with Penguin Random House. I've done a couple of little golden books. If you guys are familiar with those.
Here, look, check it out. Look.
Man.
Wait. Wham!
Wham.
Is that it? Wham? Are we gonna settle on that? Wham? Is that what we're
I like wham.
I like
Wham?
wham.
It is.
I like wham. Wham feels good.
Wham. That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked on that one. And then an Avengers book as well. And then
Yeah. That was the first wham. That was this wham. Wham.
nice. Very nice. But yeah, and then I did a little show. I did a little work on this show on Crunchyroll called Onyx Equinox. I don't know if you guys watched that. But I did just like some background paints on it and stuff. So, and then I do a lot of freelance work, whatever studios and things need illustrations and character designs here and there. So
yeah. Not that you and I haven't talked, I don't know, 100 times or more, but talk to me about just art in general in your life, how it's influenced you. You know, every artist I talk to always says, well, I've been doing it for as long as I can remember, or for as long as I could hold a pen or pencil or what have you. But I think everybody's journey is still a little bit different in terms of what kind of support they got, say, from their parents or, you know, things of that nature. Talk to me a little bit about what your journey has been like. I mean, you can start from the beginning, but we're only going to be here for like an hour. So I just.
Well, I was born. And
there you go.
I was brought into life.
No, well, I am one of those that have been drawing since I was a little kid. But as far as like realizing that art was something that I really loved, it didn't come until much later. Like I've always been drawing, but it was like something that I do. You know, I'm like one of those kids that just drew, and they like when people break up in groups and they're like, pick somebody who wants to draw on your team. They're like, get her.
Right.
So, but much later on, when I was in high school, I discovered anime, which was much harder back then.
Yeah.
Kids have it so easy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was so much
harder.
To
you little jokes. Talking to you, little jokes.
I'm dating myself, but it's true. It was so hard to get. You had to like get somebody's bootleg copy of this and that. There was a time, magical time, where we used snail mail and we would send each other tapes, or videotapes of animes, and we would like swap. Like if you have a show that I wanted to see and I've never seen before, but I have something that we would trade.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It was so hard, and it would be like one store. Yeah, like there was one store in the mall that had like not quite Sam Goody, but something like it, where it had like some tapes that you could maybe get of anime.
Yeah, probably Suncoast.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it's probably Suncoast.
Probably Suncoast.
Which was owned by the same company. Musicland owned both of them. I definitely worked
for
them.
Had that one little shelf, all the anime. That's what I was doing.
Just grab the whole shelf and just
had one shelf and just sit there. Like, what am I buying today for $60? 2 episodes.
And then you have to wait for like an anime con just to like fill your soul with anime for like 3 days, and that was all you get. So, but when I discovered that was when I was like, oh, I really like drawing stuff.
Yeah.
And
So I see you, Jimmy.
And then after meeting Jerry, who's, as you guys might know, is my husband. He got me into comics and things, and that's really when I like we went to a Comic-Con, I think it was Baltimore. I don't remember what, but that was like the first time like I realized that art and doing art is like a job that you can do, that you can just have and pursue. So from there, you know, a lot of it was self-taught because unfortunately, as much as my parents loved me and I loved them very much, they were not that supportive about my art. And I don't begrudge them about it. It's like, I understand where they're coming from. You know, we're immigrant family. We came from the Philippines. So like what they really want to make sure is that I, you know, have the best opportunity to succeed. And we don't have a lot of artists in the family. So like, you know, they were just very afraid of that route.
I can understand that.
Yes. I mean, and like only mostly recently, like they've, you know, they see that we've moved all the way out here to California, you know, we're thriving, we're not struggling anymore. So like a lot of that is starting to, you know, wash away.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people who who come up and are interested in the arts. It almost doesn't matter what it is. It could be music or, you know what I mean? Something like that. I think a lot of times they, you know, a lot of parents are afraid of what that means, right? Because of what we're taught coming up, like what are the traditional things you need to do in order to be successful and to establish yourself.
Right.
And those are, you know, scary. And, you know, I think for a lot of them, you know, jobs that exist now didn't exist when we were in school. And they certainly didn't exist when our parents were in school or something along those lines. And,
right.
You know, and as a family that comes here to, you know, when you move to America, there's that idea of the American dream and what that means and how that's supposed to work and operate. And so I can certainly, you know, understand that being fearful. So how old were you when you came to the US, or were you born here?
No, I was 7 when I came here.
Okay.
So my whole family, we were a family of 6. So it was my parents and then my one brother and 2 sisters. So we all moved in the 80s.
Okay.
And I was 7 when that happened. So, and you know what? Another thing, like I think it really has something to do with where we grew up too, because you know, like being out here and meeting a lot of people out here, a lot of other Filipinos and other Asians, like their parents out here were very supportive of pursuing art. And I think it's because here, you know, these jobs and these studios are here. So they're like, oh yeah, definitely, you know, you want to pursue that, go. Yeah. So like, but where we are, you know, there's at least certainly now back in the 80s and 90s, like no big art scene, and not this kind of art that we like. So
not at all.
Like you have to be like a painter or, you know, fine art type person to be taken seriously. So, you know, and it was all just government work or whatever, you know, politics, you know, like those kinds of things that are common over here.
Are prominent in this area. You know what I mean? Just like being so close to DC and so forth, like that kind of work is prominent in this area. So again, I can certainly understand that. What was there? Did you ever feel like in making that adjustment to coming to the US? Did you ever feel like your art was helpful in making that adjustment? Was it rough for you to do it, or?
The art wasn't. I don't think it had anything to do with like me transitioning out here. Like I had a lot of things to overcome, like, you know, obviously the language barrier and the culture. But I mean, fortunately though, like in the Philippines, at least in the school that I went to when I was going to school back there, like they made sure that they taught the students English. So when I came here, like I understood pretty much everyone that was talking, but I was really afraid to speak.
Gotcha.
And, like at some point, like my
teachers, an accent or something.
Well, then, or like I was afraid that I would say it wrong, like whatever the word it would be totally wrong, and I would embarrass myself. I mean, I was 7, so like I didn't want to be like a lame kid already new in the whole school. And there wasn't like any Filipinos at the school that I went to when first grade. And then I think I was like one of maybe 2 other Asians in my next elementary school. So it wasn't a lot of us there.
Right.
But yeah, like that was more like the cultural stuff was more of what I had to overcome. I don't know if the art drew anyone to me. I don't know, maybe I naturally flocked to like creative people also, because like the friends that I made back in elementary school, like a couple of them are still like my very best friends now, and you know, they're about as nerdy as me. So
I know that feeling. I know that feeling. I know it really well. So you know, look, we're not gonna overdo it with this, but I definitely want to make sure that we do take a moment to just kind of acknowledge some of what's happening in this country. You know, I on this show in particular, we have spent our share of time talking about what was happening within the Black community and Black Lives Matter stuff and things of that nature, and how being a nerd or being a geek or whatever, and what that's like as a person of color, you know, kind of living and moving within this community. So I do want to talk about that a little bit, because obviously things have spiked, especially towards Asians very recently. And, you know, growing up, like, you know, Jose was like my best friend. You know what I mean? Like, we just always considered each other family. That's just kind of who we were and what it is. And so, watching it happen to us all, it's hard. It's hard no matter what. So I you know, I want to take a moment to kind of acknowledge that as a whole. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that this month in particular, you know, that they're not, unless maybe not everybody understands why it's Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Are you comfortable speaking on that a little bit? Like, I want to kind of shed some light on what that is and what that means.
I mean, I'm probably not the best person to talk to as far as like exactly what that means. I'm only because I feel like there's definitely more smarter people with better words than me to talk about it.
Sure.
But
what does it mean to you?
For me, I think it's like, especially in the industry that I'm in, you know, animation, comics, and things like that. I think it's significant to bring those kinds of characters and creators out on the forefront, just so that, because like as a kid, when I was a kid, there wasn't a lot of Asian representation on the media that I consumed. It was very, very limited, and it was like, you know, very stereotypical nerd or side character, or maybe even tertiary character. So this month allows, or it makes everyone pay attention to those things with regards to our industry, like, you know, seeing the Asian creators bringing more diversity into the media, like TV shows, movies, animated and live action stuff. So that's why it's important to me.
J. Robert Dean says, we now have to pivot back to fighting that more evil and pervasive virus, bigotry. No one deserves the treatment Blacks or Asians or anyone who doesn't look like me is receiving. And if you don't know, J. Robert Dean is a straight white male. So that's what he means by that. You can't see him.
He's a little penguin on there.
Yeah, man. That's for sure. But, you know, again, I think it's important to kind of highlight, like, I think we've all kind of felt the need for there to be more people of color. But not just that, but more representation of all the different types of people that exist as a whole.
Right. Yeah, especially like, you know, with like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
But you know, like, we all, like, each of our communities, we're all like come in different colors. We're not all like one note. So it's important to show, like, you know, there are strong Asians and vulnerable Asians, and you know, nerdy ones, quiet ones, loud ones. Like, you know, like, it's usually like when you see it in your movies, it's, you know, the stereotype is usually like quiet, meek, small. So like, but there's, you know, when you're in the real world and you're looking around, like, there's very, very different types of people. And much like I imagine, like, in the Black community, like, there's always like this one type that's always represented on media, but when you're in the real world, it's like everyone's totally different. They all have different, you know, interests and things like that, and it's just not represented. And so it makes, you know, for me, like, the important thing is, like, the younger generation looking, you know, going forward, they need that to see that these things are possible for them, and that they don't have to be a doctor or a nurse or whatever, you know, they have to be. So.
I agree 100%. So listen, I'm gonna show off because it's Spider-Man related. I'm gonna show that off.
Of course.
Wham!
You know what? That's right. That's right, Sin. I forgot. Wait, let me do it again.
All right.
Wham!
Wham!
Yeah, listen. You know, I love and have been following your work for a very long time. I think you just have an incredible style. I really do. And I love looking at your work. Like, I love the fluidity of your work. Like, everything that you draw to me has a story, and it feels like there's motion in a still image.
Cool.
And so I really dig the way that you do it. You really do have your own style, and yeah, it's always just been your style is very attractive to me. I love the way it looks.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna talk about, you know, we do have a regular show to do too. You love the J. Robert Dean said he especially loves the F your guns image. Yeah,
Say how I
dig
feel.
that.
I said it.
I dig that. Certainly. Margaret said call J. Robert Dean's Happy Feet. Can we get away with that? Can we change J. Robert Dean's to Happy Feet? I feel like that could be a thing.
I mean, why not?
It could be.
I feel like that could be a thing. Jerry says story is everything. I agree. I think.
I mean, I've done a lot to like really make sure that I start putting story, because there was a point where all I was doing was pinups and stuff, you know, way early on in my art career. But I got a really good advice from a really awesome artist named Pascal Campion, and he, you know, he really told me to put some. He told me to put some story behind my art, and it will leave a lasting impression on people. Yeah. And I've really worked since then, like for years. I've been working to put story behind my art, so it's not just like a pinup, and it doesn't feel empty. So I appreciate you noticing.
For sure, absolutely. So here's what I want to do. I want to talk trash about the new Venom trailer.
Okay.
I hate this joint. I hate it.
Shocker.
I know, really.
Did you not like the first?
I see what you did there. Shocker.
Did you not like the Venom movie before?
Spider-Man's not involved, so it's absolutely all hate.
Come on, Penny, you don't answer that question.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a complicated thing for me because the movie's not necessarily bad. It's just not right. You know, I come from that very, like, I was there at the beginning of Venom. Like, you can't really have a Venom without having Spider-Man. That's how I feel about it. Now, having said that, I do recognize that they have done so much in the comics to separate Spider-Man and Venom, to give Venom his own life outside of having to be tied directly to Spider-Man. And a lot of it I actually do like what they've done with it, as far as like Agent Venom and just like all that kind of stuff, especially what they've done like just within like the past month, where essentially they made him a god, and which is, you know, which is cool. I like the idea though of Venom being a villain instead of being an anti-hero or a hero. Really, I don't want to like Eddie Brock because I wasn't taught to like Eddie Brock. So I kind of hate that too. And so this I mean, I'm not sold on the very like rubbery look that Venom has. I don't like it.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't like it. It does not look to me the way I feel like the comics have he's been drawn to look, like the texture of Venom.
Yeah.
I'm upset. I don't like it.
I saw the trailer one time, and it was a lot to like. I was confused as to what I was looking at, and mind you, I don't have a lot of knowledge about Venom anyway. Like, my knowledge is very, very shallow. It's what I saw in that one Spider-Man movie one time, And then I saw the Venom movie, and then whatever random facts Jerry throws at me about Spider-Man and Venom. So I didn't quite understand what I was looking at, and then I guess Carnage is red. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, Carnage is red.
That's a good way to separate. That way you know who Carnage is. Hey,
that's pretty much all I could tell.
I'm not a big fan of Carnage. Like, a lot of people really like Carnage as a character. I'm not a big fan of Carnage. I don't think Carnage is necessary. Again, they've done more recently to make him better, but like, I'll put it to you this way. Nothing I saw in this trailer made me feel like I gotta see this. Nothing about it.
I can tell you hard.
Yeah.
Well, here's what stands out about it to me the most, because it's the minute things that seem like they should be about the movie, but it's not for me. It's about the fact that it says in theaters only. And nothing they did made me feel like, oh, I need to go to a theater to see this movie.
Nah, not at all. I was thoroughly unimpressed watching this trailer. Okay,
I was happy to see Carnage. That's where I'm at. But just like you said, like, to me, it almost looked like this was just a missing piece of the first movie. Almost, it looked like the same action, the same type of thing, just with Carnage thrown in there for it.
I wasn't even impressed by Carnage. At the end of it, when I finally got to see him, I was like,
nah.
It's the first trailer. It's you're supposed to slap with the first trailer.
That's not it. It's just
my mind just keeps telling me that this is just, you know what? We're in multiverse. This is a Venom in a different universe. We're working with what we got with them there until we can incorporate the Spider-Man elements into it. But I enjoyed the first one. It's just weird for Venom to be like a comedy, like him to be funny, and I get a wisecrack here and there, but I mean, my man is just like,
he's like, nah, that's not my Venom.
That's not.
I don't approve of that.
I get it.
I don't like it, dog. Like, why are you serving waffles right now? I don't like this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like it.
Was he making breakfast in the trailer?
Yeah.
Yes, he was making breakfast.
Yeah,
it was funny, but at the same time, it was weird.
Was it funny? Did you laugh at that jokes?
It was one of those like, it was like, it wasn't like a super out laugh, but it was just like, why is this happening? It was the why laugh.
No, see, you were laughing at it, not with it.
Right, it was that why laugh.
Perp says Venom 3 will have a Spider-Man, I think, and they will tease something in this movie. So the follow-up movie will be called Venom Meets Spider-Man.
I don't think
so. I hope they never. I hope they never. Listen, the only interaction at this point that I feel like Spider-Man should have with this version of Venom is simply to say, hey, yo, first of all,
here we go.
Tardy tie, slow tie, late tie. What you doing, man? I don't want to see this Venom interact. I don't ever want this Venom to meet Tom Holland. That's for sure. I would be okay with an acknowledgement that the universes exist separately. I do not want them. I don't want them to touch each other. I don't want them to come together. Like, this Venom lives in San Francisco. We're already wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong that he's wrong.
Man gonna make it to the East Coast eventually, I think. I think Peter Parker is gonna be the one that caused this Venom to become an evil. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. Eddie gonna show up at the Daily Bugle. He gonna get the job there. I don't know what Peter's gonna do. Gonna piss him off, and then he's gonna become the evil Venom.
So you know what, Cuddy? So listen, Cuddy said you can't domesticate the symbiote. Don't like the buddy cop Eddie Venom. Listen, I hate that myself. However, again, I do want to say that sort of exists now in the comic books. It does, and it kind of works. Like, again, they've done a lot. There's been Eddie had cancer, and so Venom left him and went to Mac Gargan, who was the Scorpion, who was in Spider-Man Homecoming, but was not in Far From Home. So, like, they alluded to him. And then they did the whole thing with the Thunderbolts, which the MCU is heavily pointing towards the Thunderbolts being a thing, and Venom could easily be involved in that. I don't want this Venom. I don't want this. It's like a fly in my soup. Like, I don't want this Venom in my MCU.
I don't think you're gonna have a choice.
Feige, can you please get this?
I still think it's gonna happen. And
you think so?
I think it's gonna happen. Like somehow, just like you said, whether it's the Thunderbolt story or whichever one they do, the symbiote Venom is gonna leave Eddie somehow, and I don't know how the hell he's gonna miraculously make it all the way across the U.S. into the East Coast. But just like you said, maybe Matt Gargan. Like, I don't know what jail they're in, whatnot ever, but maybe one of them does pick up Venom at that point in time, and then somehow ends up having that interaction with. I want to see a Tom Holland evil Spider-Man thing. I think that would be kind of cool to see.
I want Tom Holland to get the black suit. I want him to get a black suit. Like, I just don't want him to touch this dude. Like, I don't want him nowhere near. I just don't.
I feel like Tom Holland's so precious.
He is, but an evil version of him could be dope.
I think that would be sweet.
It could be dope.
Jerry says people like these bad guys, and the publishers want to keep them on the stands, but they haven't figured out how to tell stories about an evil protagonist, so they turn them into heroes for mass consumption. I agree.
That's not
listen. I agree. And I'm not. Again, like right now, what I feel like is happening is I feel like the Venom thing, they're leaning on the Deadpool thing a little too much. I feel like they're leaning too heavily on the Deadpool thing. As like a proof of you can take someone who is bad, an anti-hero, and have something that does well. The first Venom movie did extremely well, which is another thing I hate. Like, I needed people to shut this down.
Well, I will say, and now again, don't hate me because I don't have a lot of Venom knowledge. But the movie itself, I actually found entertaining.
Sure,
so definitely,
it was an entertaining movie,
and that is so. I'm gonna. This is not. Just hear me on this, okay? For a second.
Yeah, we should say yes. It is.
People who did not watch the Avatar The Last Airbender cartoon found M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender movie entertaining. They liked it. It was good to them. They didn't know that material. Like, I can recall people coming to me and being like, yo, did you see that Last Airbender movie? It's crazy. I loved it. Right?
That sounds crazy.
It sent a lot of people to the show. It boosted the show sales. It boosted the sales of the DVDs, sure, and that series as a whole. But those of us who knew were like,
well,
this is garbage.
Because when we went and watched that last Avatar movie, Airbenders, the Avatar movie, like I hadn't seen Avatar at all, and I hated the movie. It was trash from beginning to end, and I hadn't watched any Avatar stuff the whole time, and I only just started watching it last year, and like we got caught up on all the seasons plus the.
I remember because you did that YouTube the drawing, and you had to draw Aang.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what Aang is. I don't even know his first name. I just knew he had a blue arrow on his head, and that's all I knew about him, and that was it. But then after I saw Avatar, like the series, I was like, oh my gosh, that movie was way more horrible than I thought it was.
It was way worse.
It was already bad. It was already bad.
I mean,
so
I think, hey, jokes, Google how much money that Last Airbender made. I just want to know.
Too much. I don't care what the number is. It was too much.
So here's what I want to do. I've had enough being mad about Venom. I want to be mad about something else now. So let's talk about Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh, okay.
But listen, chat, I don't know if you're watching this. All right, hold on. Sin?
Yes, sir.
You watched the entire season, correct?
I did watch the entire season. I did homework.
Jokes, you've seen none of this, right?
Nope.
My man didn't do his homework.
Ew. $319 million gross revenue.
$319 million.
Ew.
I told you people liked it. They didn't know.
Yeah,
They didn't
and you
know.
know, Jerry said, and he's right. Like, it made us not want to watch the cartoon because
I
of
believe
the
he did
movie and
say
how
it.
bad it was. Because it's like, no,
Well,
thank you.
Got a
maybe it's
5% on Rotten
because
Tomatoes.
the two of you have more like knowledge about the way superhero stories work and the way some of that fantasy stuff really works. Like at the time that movie came out, I was working at Best Buy. I was in charge of the movie department, and when I tell you that people were coming to me like, yo, this Avatar thing is a show, it was a cartoon first, I need that.
Yes, you do.
Really?
So
Based
you
off
can
of what
claim
you just
do.
saw, it got you hype enough to want to go buy this?
Right. Like imagine for a second somebody came to you and was like, yo, I just saw that live action Dragon Ball movie. I need to watch the anime. Nah, nobody did that.
I will slap you.
Wham!
Damn.
Nobody
Double
did
wham.
that.
Get out of my store, sir.
Exactly. I will sell you nothing. We have the right to refuse service to anyone at any
leave,
time. for
leave
any
my
reason.
establishment, please.
Well, sell me my Dragon Ball Evolution now.
Hey, Perp.
Perp,
I need you to hold up a little bit.
Perp,
I need you to hold up a little bit.
Yeah, I've heard. And
Okay, listen. Let me do this. So, Sin, I know you went through the drama and the torture of watching the entire series.
I did.
Let me start by saying that I know that this is based on a comic book. I know that it's Mark Miller. I know that a lot of people like Mark Miller's work. I am familiar with the comic book. I did not read it, but I'm familiar with it. I know what the story is in a nutshell. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first episode.
let me try this real quick.
I almost threw up because it looks terrible. Let me tell you something. I know what kind of money Netflix has. Okay. My expectation levels, because the MCU exists and the DCEU exists, and on the strength of what those shows have done, there are a lot of other superhero movies, shows, and so forth that like touch the bar. You know what I'm saying? Like they may not get over the bar, but they're like, bing, tap the bar. You understand what I'm saying? So my expectation level for this, especially because I just got finished watching Invincible, which is incredible.
Woo,
they
sweet.
could have renamed Invincible Incredible. It was incredible. What I saw when I turned this on was Power Rangers fighting putties, and I was disgusted.
Now, see, that makes me want to watch it.
I know, and that was the
and that may be a problem.
I hate you. It looks terrible. Like I have seen, and listen, I do my best not to be like, I know a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into making this show, into doing the behind the scenes work and the special effects and outfits and all that. But if I see a lemon, I'm gonna say, hey, there goes a lemon. And let me tell you something. It's a lot of lemons in this show because armor shouldn't bend like that. Have y'all seen that meme with the Captain America shield bending? Have you seen that?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Find it. It's from Falcon and Winter Soldier, and there's a scene where my man goes to get up and he leans on the shield to get up, and that joint straight flexes. It's bad.
Oh no.
Welcome back, Jimmy, for 1 minute. Listen, let me tell you something. Anytime my mama say it did look terrible, the makeup was horrible. I don't know how a man should watch the whole thing disappointed. Listen.
Mom says
listen, no, J. Robert Deans, let me tell you something. Do I mean the camera work was bad or the effects are weak? I mean the combination of the two, bro. Listen, this is what I want you to understand. There are moments in this show where it looks like I'm watching the Thunderbirds, like it looks like I'm watching Team America. Like these cats look like puppets on strings. I'm not even joking. Like
I'll tell you what's hilarious. The fact that he only watched one episode.
One joint. And I'll tell you why. Because there was no way. Second, you know how Netflix does. They just automatically start the next joint. I was like, no, can't do it.
Stop.
Get out of here. You know, normally I'm waiting for
look.
Netflix, and Netflix is like, "Are you still watching this? Why are you asking me?" Yes, I'm still watching. Not this time. Not this time, Netflix. You didn't get me.
And look,
It's bad.
you have honestly took the words literally right out of my mouth, B. Like with the bar being like, just like you said, coming off Invincible and looking at the bar of the MCU, the DCU, even Amazon with the boys and all that stuff. Like, okay, there's all this great superhero shows out there,
Correct.
and this thing it just misses it completely. Like the action scenes are the action scenes are garbage. Straight up. Through the whole thing, it never gets any better. It's like you said, it looks like puppets on wires. You can tell you can see the wire work clearly. Like it's just bad special effects. Do not look good. The pacing of the story and it's a huge miss on Netflix part with this. And I didn't know anything about it going in. I know nothing about Jupiter's Legacy. I was like, okay, this seems to be a big thing. It's superheroes. I know we're going to talk about it, so let me put it on while I'm working and just go through it and watch it. And I could have spent the time catching up on this anime stuff.
The story as a whole, like in terms of the comic book, is a solid story. Like, as we're getting more and more stories that are like what The Boys is, which are stories that are within a superhero universe, but that tell stories that are a little bit outside or a bit more realistic in terms of like how things might really be. You know, it definitely touches on some things, like the idea that these are people who ended up with powers and they have a limit, like we don't kill, we don't, you know, this kind of thing. There's a code. And
see, Marcus flirting with that line.
He's trying to with that line.
Hey, listen, Marcus.
He keep walking to
that rule, bro. You can't talk bad about One Piece. You're not allowed.
My man walking that line.
Make sure you keep the straw hats out your mouth.
Right. It's gotten to a point now where like those stories are more interesting stories. And like we're actually starting to get, like when you watch a show like Falcon and Winter Soldier, yes, there are superheroes in it, but again, Marvel has gotten so much better at telling the stories that are around the superheroes, right? That it's about Falcon, who doesn't have any powers, coming home and still not being able to get a loan. You understand what I'm saying? Like the things about the people, right? And so this being a story that's like, we are these superheroes, it flirts with the ideas of like Batman, right? And like how there's those ideas of like Batman doesn't kill anybody, he just keeps putting them in jail, they keep getting out and they keep killing people. And how many lives could he have saved if he, like, it's really walking the line. That's the story. You know what I mean? Is how many lives could we save if we stepped up, if we did get involved in politics?
And I love when shows or comics have that conversation. I really like seeing like, okay, let's see how these people like interpret that story and everything. The problem with me is the story never goes anywhere in the show. It's we shouldn't kill people. Why'd you kill somebody? And then they just never get past that for the whole time. Like there's no, they don't ever get into a solution or really talking it out. It's just where it starts at, it seems like it just still kind of ends up at the end of the series. Like it's just terrible execution overall.
The comic, hey Jimmy, you already know, man. I let Batman have it in here, bro. You already know.
Don't do that, man. You gonna get your signal cut out there.
I know.
Right.
Wayne Tech will shut me down. Here's the thing. For a story that I think is good enough to be told and probably deserves to be told, they probably should have opted for animation instead of doing live action. And since they did live action, they should have gotten somebody who could choreograph fights, who knows how to shoot action and can make it look good, because it doesn't. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like it literally feels like, when you watch it feels like you're watching an old episode of Power Rangers. Like they look like they're fighting putties. Like they look like it's bad. Like like
that now.
We do cons, bro. This is a thing for us, bro. I've seen great work. Their outfits don't even look like great cosplay, bro. And that's
bad.
For real. Like
no, that as soon as I saw that opening action sequence when they were fighting Black Star or whatever, I was like, oh, Lord, this is bad. Like, okay, I'm in for a ride here. Got it.
That was the opening joint.
Yeah. I guess they're big bad.
I'm out. Listen, let me say what, Jerry? Hey, Jerry, listen, man. I'm going to tell you what. Like, the chat is powerful. You writing paragraphs. You're writing paragraphs, which means you're not watching us anywhere near often enough because you got some things you want to get off your chest, bro. We need to talk more often. We gotta get you on here, bro. The medium of superhero stories in film has reached the point that the general public really gets what superheroes are, and can be so now storytellers are free to really explore ideas and themes beyond basic superhero tropes. Again, you're absolutely right. That's where we are now. Like, we're at a point now where a Netflix show like Jessica Jones that is about a superhero isn't really about her having powers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's really, really good stuff. That's part of what it is. Marcus says, so is it worse than Titans? Yes, or Wonder Woman? Oh, dog, listen. Let me tell you something about Wonder Woman 84 compared to this joint. Smashes this joint. Wonder Woman 84. Listen, y'all know I have issues with Wonder Woman 84 and the special effects in that movie because, again, y'all are automatic big budget. This is supposed to be your breadwinner. You bringing in one of the trifecta here. You're supposed to do this.
I would say special effects were better in Wonder Woman 84. Still, both of them are just awfully terrible.
Yeah, and Titans, I'm not even. Hey, listen, here come.
You knew Ty was coming.
Oh yeah, he was coming. Come on.
Oh, DC Tardy Ty.
Captain Saver DC.
Come on. Listen. J. Robert Deans, can you get right on that, please? I need an image of Tardy Ty as Captain Saver DC. I am in need. Stop hating.
Oh,
I can't. Listen, we're gonna get off the subject. We're gonna get off the subject.
Bad about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you
84 was trash.
That might hurt. It hurt. My expectations were so high. All right, here's what let's do this. I want to talk about the Golden Globes real quick. Because Netflix, Amazon, NBC, all boycotting the Golden Globes.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Warner Media announced it too.
You're right. They jumped on it. They're like, nah, we're out. And mostly it's because the Hollywood Foreign Press, which is the voting body for the Golden Globes, doesn't have any diversity. It has a very high lack of diversity. So just to kind of fill you in before we kind of start talking about the things about it I really want to talk about, I just want to kind of make sure we touch some of the important pieces of it. Hey, Perp, I haven't watched Doom Patrol yet. It's on my list. I'll check it out. So just to kind of give you like an overview, the Hollywood Foreign Press, I would draw it, but it would be an empty room with a You know what? That's perfect. Tardy Ty. So there are 90 foreign film journalists from about 55 countries in the Hollywood Foreign Press. And there are no African Americans, no black people in it at all. I like it's enough that it was actually brought up during the Golden Globes. Like that's a thing, right? And here's the other thing. So like the Golden Globes, while over time, I guess they've managed to be touted as an important award, right? Over the last few years, especially, we've seen things like we had a discussion. It was before we went live, like with shows like this with the chat, but like we had a discussion about how Get Out was nominated for like best musical / comedy.
What?
Because of the way, So because of the way that the Golden Globes does their categories, they're based on genres, and that's the genre that it ended up being in, which was kind of like, why is this a thing? So I think there are a lot of things, and then they recently also blocked. So there's a movie called Minari, which is a Korean-led film. They blocked that from a Best Picture nomination. So there just are a lot of things that I think are making people look at not just the Golden Globes. Like this is the kind of thing to me that will spill over It will absolutely spill over. Like it will be a thing for the Oscars. It will be. So here's kind of where I am. How important are these awards anymore, realistically? Like, I don't really often care to watch these award shows myself very much anymore. And I think it's because I think you feel like you can predict who's going to win what anyway. Like, when's the last time you sat down and watched an award show, Penny?
Oh,
yeah,
that's a long time ago. And like, I think the last time I watched any kind of award show, it was just to sketch out dresses.
Hey.
Just for art purposes.
Valid.
That's really it.
And so here's the thing. It's all about the red carpet. More than
spectacle.
Yeah. It's about the red carpet. Like, I'm way more interested. For me, award shows for stuff like this are a lot like the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not a big football fan. I watch football. I know what's going on. I understand. Sure, I'll pick a team and pull for them. But realistically, I'm here for the commercials. Let's just be honest, okay? When it comes to an award show, I'm much more interested in jumping on Google or Bing, because that's my preference.
That's where we
points. Gotta get them Bing points. And just seeing how people were dressed on the red carpet and who said what to who and who did what. Like, it's a bigger deal, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I haven't watched an award show just because like it does feel like, and I think someone brought it up on here, like it feels like it's clearly biased depending on what's going on, and you know, like, yeah, so it's like, I don't know. And when I watch it, like, especially with like the best movie stuff, like a lot of those movies I've never seen, and that's not saying that they're not great movies. I'm just like, I don't know. So, and in particular, like the animated stuff, like when you get to the animated categories, that's all shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, so I was having a discussion with our good friend Coop the other day. We were talking about this. And I was saying that, like, one of the things that bothers me about these shows is that I feel like the voting bodies it's like our government. It's people like Martin Scorsese who will come. Like, I'm still angry at this dude for coming out of his face.
I won't watch nothing else Martin Scorsese anymore. I'm done.
I've been done with him off of that. Yeah.
They're not cinema. What are you talking about, dude? All your movies are the exact same movie. You make gangster movies about gangsters.
That's
People
it.
shoot, they die. Like, it's the same movie over and like every single movie you make could literally be a sequel or a prequel to another movie you made, and you're deciding what is cinema.
Right.
Like,
Scorsese universe. Like, that's literally what he has.
Yeah. Like, because it's outside of the scope of what you do. So now it's not cinema. So what is cinema? Like, what does that mean? And if there is an artist's perspective on what cinema is, on what good cinematography is, on what great audio in a film is, on what, like, if there's an artist's perspective on that, who is deciding what that perspective is? And it's always been tricky with anything that's art, period, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
go to an art museum. Exactly, right? If you go to the modern section of an art museum, right, and you look at what's on the wall, there will always be people who will say, my dog could do that.
Yeah.
Why is this hanging in it? How come it's worth however much money, right? That's because art is subjective. However, I find that when you can have one movie that's up for 6 categories and none of those categories is best picture, something's wrong.
Agree.
100%.
How can a movie be up
for all these different things
for 6 or 7 different categories and best picture not be one of them?
That's just asinine.
If all of these other things are so good that it's nominated for that, how can it not be?
You
You
got the
understand what I'm
pieces to the
saying?
puzzle. It's like you're making that perfect puzzle. Like you got all these pieces that you've been nominated for, but you can't, like, you get the whole full puzzle. It's like, you know what? That puzzle looks like garbage, fully assembled or something like that. Like, makes no sense.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
I mean, and like, and Jared brought up a good point. Like, it's the awards are for the industry mostly. Like, it's not necessarily that important for us consumers, but like for the industry, they tout that as a way to get more stuff, more projects coming in. So
And here's the thing about that. He's absolutely right. The awards are not for us. The awards are for them. There are awards that they take more seriously because they are awards that are voted on by them, right? And not by a separate governing body, right? I find that there are more and more actors, actresses, artists, singers, whatever they are, that seem to put more respect on People's Choice Awards or Teens Choice Awards or whatever than they do these, right? Because those are the people who are actually supporting them. And I think in the world in which we live in today, where a person can get on TikTok and have millions of followers and start a Patreon and have people that go and support them. And for those who don't know, they don't know. For those who do, you know that those are the people who support you, and that's what's important to you. The difference between something like, say, the Oscars or the Golden Globes is that, not unlike in the music industry, once you have certain awards under your belt, you can automatically demand more money because you are an Oscar-winning performer. You are, a Grammy-winning performer. You are a
Grammy nominated, even being nominated.
You get labeled at anything movie that comes out. You always have that label on there.
Yep.
Every single time.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people on the outside just watching the awards don't really understand what it really means when you win an award. Because mostly it's now you get more money. You get to demand more money. And I can give you a perfect example. In the time that I spent dealing with the music industry, working street teams for companies like Arista and MCA and RCA and Elektra and whoever, getting ready to get dated. This is before Jokes was born. The year 2000. The year 2000 now. Year 2000, the NBA was here for All-Star Weekend. They were in the DMV, DC for All-Star Weekend. And myself and Sin's brother and my brother, we were out all night putting up posters and setting up parties and doing stuff for all kinds of people. You know what I mean? People who nobody cares. Shaggy and Shantae Moore and people you don't care about no more. Lucy Pearl, whatever, right? One of the people that we were in charge of trying to set things up for was Ruben Studdard. Who remembers Ruben Studdard?
Oh, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2004.
That was the second album. This is the first joint. This is the first joint, right? So if you remember Dream/Love, which at the time was like the hottest club on the entire East Coast.
I do remember that.
So we were charged with setting up for Ruben Studdard for his appearance there. And on the day of, the club canceled his appearance. So mind you, they put out all this marketing material and all this kind of stuff to say, hey, Ruben Studdard's going to be here to try to get all these people to come. So on the day of, they canceled it. And here's why they canceled it. Because the week prior, so he'd already won American Idol. The week prior, his first single, not his album, the single went platinum. Okay. So because the album went platinum, his price doubled. So they were paying him $30,000 to appear, not to perform, just to show up at the club. $30,000. It doubled to $60,000. And the club owner was like, not paying Ruben Studdard $60,000 to come to this joint. Not doing it. That's how that works. When Baby Lucy, you right, Cuddy. That's how that works. It's the same thing in the movie industry and so forth. Like when you can say, it's like putting anything on your resume. When you can say, I did this, this, and this, that nets you more money. It's really important to the industry. But if as people on the outside begin to realize things like that and see that means when it looks like the voting's not fair and such really isn't, going the way it should, and people are feeling like there should be more Black people, and there should be more, Asian people, and there should be more whatever. And how come such and such isn't represented? It's because if we vote for you, then we got to pay y'all more when we, you know what I'm saying? When y'all, when we go to give y'all work, like we got to start actually giving y'all work and paying y'all more for your work, because that's the way the industry is set up. So there's more to it. And a boycott like this is important. Like, again, like my mother was in the comments saying like, yeah, like people are literally sending their Golden Globes back. Like they're sending them back. Like, I don't know who you mail it to. Right. I don't know what they'll do with them. I'm sure it'll end up on eBay and somebody will sell it or whatever. Yeah. Like, I got Tom Cruise Gold Globe. Like,
oh, word? Here's $1.
Nah, hey, listen. First of all, don't you ever talk bad about Clay Aiken. All right. Let me just make that incredibly clear. Don't you ever talk bad about? Listen, yeah, Dr. Pepper fake. Listen, yeah, I almost could care less if they don't ever broadcast another award show. But red carpet, there's a lot of money to be made, right? Because it's not just about who's on the carpet and what they're wearing; it's who they're wearing. Right?
What you got on?
Ooh, that's Dior. I'm going to Dior.com right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Let me get that knockoff joint right quick.
Yep.
Let me try to find the fake. I need that fake Gucci.
100%.
Yeah, I mean that's you know what? Is Tom Cruise's Gold Globe shorter than the rest of the Gold Globe? That's just. Let me just tell you something, J. Robert Dean. We don't handle short jokes real well around here.
Like, hey now.
Shit.
I am a very short person.
I'm sorry.
Shut up.
Personal here.
I love a good short joke.
Me and Center are vertically inclined.
Every time we go to take group pictures for Lotus Snack,
let them fly, right?
And I'm like, photographer, stand further away. So
Gage trying to stand up closer to the camera while we're in the background, trying to offset the height.
You just gotta get a step. You just gotta go a steppy step.
Hey, listen, I ain't walking around with no step stool, Penny. They need to bend down.
I get on tippy toes sometimes.
I get it.
People all look. We be at on the show floor doing interviews, like, oh yeah, let's take a picture. And the person we interviewing, they always be like, hey, you want me to come? Nah, stay on the other side of the table. Ooh, you don't have to come around here next to me, though. Like, you don't have to.
I'm just gonna post up front.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. I understand the struggle. I stand next to Jerry all the time. He's 6'2", and I just have to. Like, I don't know why, but I end up doing this all the time, as if that is going to raise. Yeah, like as if that's going to raise myself up a little higher.
Listen,
and so I always end up doing that. I get it.
Sin is also 6'2". Jokes, what are you, 6'1", 6 foot, something like that?
6, right on the mark.
Right on the mark. Yeah. So 5'7" ain't that far off. You know what I mean? Like I put my hat like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
got the air in there.
I gotta figure out these tricks, man. You gotta learn.
You got techniques out here, bro, nigga.
You gotta pull the leg tighter together.
You learn something, man. Hey, listen, let me tell y'all something. Spending enough time in your elementary school pictures, always being in the front row, and your feet still dangling every joint. You figure some things out. Yeah, like, why can't I just stand right behind the short person so nobody see that? I'm over it. Like honestly, I'm over it. But yeah, I mean, whew, J. Robert Dean, 6'5", size 15, happy feet, man. Happy feet, straight up. Listen, we gotta wrap this up. It's getting late. I mean, it's late for us. It might not be so late for Penny.
Not that late, but I get it. I feel bad. Like I always forget the 3-hour difference happening.
Oh, nah. Like this is normal for us though. Like this is what we do. We get in here, we start having a good time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So before we go, Penny, I want to make sure that people have an opportunity to make sure they go follow you. So anybody who's watching, please, like, again, Penny is a phenomenal artist. That is her Facebook page up on screen right there. You can get to her Instagram from there as well. do me a favor, Penny. Help differentiate for me the difference between Peng Peng Art and Peng Peng Art _pro.
Oh, the pro
pro
is
version.
simply just for portfolio stuff. That's
Okay.
it. So like, there's not very much fan art in there. It's really just where I send like any recruiters or anything like that. I send it to that page because when they're looking for like character designers, they're not really interested in seeing like fan art stuff
Sure.
when they're looking for that. So
Got it.
my Peng Peng art is where I live and breathe, and that's all my fun artwork. But the pro part is just for work purposes, so it's not as fun and exciting for a lot of fans.
I mean, I think it's exciting, but you know, I'm a different breed of fan, I suppose.
Yeah, the usual consumers, they're not interested. Like if you see any, like if I post any original characters and original designs on my Peng Peng art, like it's mostly crickets, and they're like, "What is this? We don't care
know what you mean by this." Yeah. I got it.
Yeah,
Got
but
it.
But
Okay.
that's where I put like that kind of stuff is in the Peng Peng
Okay.
Pro.
Is there identity comic stuff coming?
Is there identity comic stuff coming? Always.
Like, why you wait till the end to ask the hard hitting question? I want to know.
I have to consult with the other members.
Okay.
So there's always like we're always
signed an NDA. You can't talk about it. It's cool. I get it.
We get it.
No, it's not that. It's just we're always like coming up with stories, and we've been pitching stuff to a lot of studios all the time, like our original stories.
Yeah.
So there's always something that we want to pursue. It's always just a matter of time. Like,
sure,
time is very scarce when, like, especially with Jerry and Flash, like they're just always working all the time.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to squeeze in our personal projects into studio work that comes in, and then they take on freelance as well. So I mean, it's like we have all these ideas and we want to do all these things, but do we have the time?
Yeah, you still got other life stuff to deal with, to take care of, work stuff.
Yeah, like bills stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah, those things.
Yeah.
Those
pesky little critters.
Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, we're always trying to do something. So.
I dig it. I got my eyes and ears open for it. We're ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yes.
You just let me know. You know what I'm saying?
J. Robert Deans is right. Like, we're not complaining about the work at all.
Yeah.
Like, having a lot of work is great. It's just, it's good for, especially like during all of last year, like us doing what we do, like it transitioned very easily to working from home.
Which is great
for us. So,
yeah, that's great. Man, Jerry said the sun's still out. He can turn on the grill. You
good.
Hey, people can grill in the dark. You know what I mean? People can grill in the dark. Hey, do you ever call Jerry the franchise?
No.
All right. All right. It's just him.
Never.
It's just him. All right.
Not me. Other people do.
She shut that down quick.
She was like,
nah. It's like he's tried to have that conversation before. Nah.
Probably.
You're like, nah. That's not happening.
Hey, listen. Who you try? Oh yeah. Hey, listen. You just let me know when you need some more music. Jerry. See, we can't push that Hyperboy Automatic out. Down. All right. So listen, make sure y'all go and you follow Penny. Again, awesome artist, awesome person. We love you, Penny. We really do. We love all y'all, but we love you, Penny.
Thank you.
Now it's time for Jokes to do his job. Jokes, you got a job to do? Can you do your job, please? Something bit me, man. I'm about to get my spider powers, dog. I swear.
You hope.
Hey, he gonna wake up looking like a cicada.
Hey, dog, if I become cicada man, bro, I ain't never working again. Never working again. I bet y'all be taller than you. I doubt it.
He gonna be like, what's his name? In The Fly. He gonna turn into that type of thing.
Right. So listen, y'all. The link tree is up if you are following us in one space and you're not following us in the other, we would greatly appreciate it if you follow us across the board. The link tree makes that really easy to do. It also is a great way to get in the MCU chat, which is where we do our spoiler boys.
Spoiler boys,
man, because y'all know that spoiler boys for Loki is coming up. And again, let us know. Do we need to do a spoiler boys for Invincible?
I said we put out there to the people and let's see what they say.
I think last time they said
I think it's gonna be a green light.
My vote is yes.
Okay. Penny said it, so it's gotta happen. We're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna do that. Yeah, that's a great way to get in the MCU chat. It's a great way to get in the LS wrestling chat. So if you're into wrestling and you want to talk about wrestling things that are happening, Jokes is your guy, and he's got that chat on lock. There's also LS anime chat. That's Sin's favorite place to be. So that's a great place to get in there. Jokes likes to dig in there every now and again, and every so often I'll throw a little something your way in the anime chat. We're kind of trying to bridge our fandoms, y'all. So that's kind of what it is. We have a few things brewing. We are working on interviews for virtual Comic-Con. We shot one with TJ Sterling earlier today. If you're not familiar with him, he is an awesome guy. He has a Ray Comics is his comic book company, RAE Comics. He's got a Kickstarter that starts tomorrow for Joystick Angels. We shot an interview for that, so that'll go live soon, and then we'll have an interview that goes live for virtual Comic-Con. We have some other people scheduled. We're also doing a panel, another Being Comfortable Being a Geek panel for that. I think that's going to be really, really good. We are still kind of figuring out and planning things for BlurredCon because in person and vaccines, but that is still very much on the docket currently. We are also planning to start a movie club. So picking a movie once a month, dropping that movie at the beginning, everybody goes and watch it. We get together at the end and we do a live show and chat about the movie. And we're talking like deep level cinematography, audio, acting, down to the wire. There will be a group discussion that happens before the main live chat discussion. That group discussion will only be available on our Patreon, which is something else you can very easily get to if you jump in that link tree. And so speaking of our Patreon, Sin, you have a job to do.
Yes, so let's go ahead and shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorsch, and Tyrone Carson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
All of whom are taller than me except one.
You got one unbeat?
One. Not beat. I'm just taller than. Not beat. I just want you to know. Not beat. Just taller than. That's all. Yeah, J. Robert Dean's Movie Club.
I wonder if you and Ty might be the same height.
I mean, Ty's never showing up anywhere. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, Ma, don't be. Listen, I wasn't gonna say. Hey, look, Cuddy, don't be. Hey, listen, I'm just saying. Yeah, J. Robert Dean. So just to kind of give y'all sort of a brief overview of what we're thinking about doing. Again, we don't have everything sorted out. We'll have it sorted out by when it's time to go. But I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put like 6 movies into a vote in Patreon. Let y'all pick first. Whatever top 4 come out of that, we'll put to the rest of the public, and whatever comes out top out of that will be the movie for the month. We honestly really do want to hit all kinds of genres. We are looking for people to actually take the opportunity to watch things they wouldn't normally watch based on other suggestions, right? So if you're not really into anime, but there's a really good anime that they says, look, everybody should watch this, then that might be the thing, you know what I mean, that we go and watch. If you're not into dramas or not really into comedies, or if you don't really watch kung fu flicks or whatever, something along that lines, if you are not from the same generation and you've never seen The Golden Child, you should see The Golden Child, because I want the knife.
Please.
So things like that, like we're really looking at trying to help bridge some of that and help people experience, just some of the places that pop culture now, where it's coming from, where it's headed to, and kind of help bridge some of that understanding with different people, and kind of getting, look, J. Robert Deans, you're part of the reason why we're doing this, because you hate everything. And it doesn't really bother me. I just, you know what I mean? But but we really like the idea of having high level conversations about those things and what stands out to you versus what doesn't, and why you like something versus not liking something else. as a whole, and doing that as a group and having a chat about it, I think would be really great, really interesting. So,
and also it might bleed over. It might also bleed over in the anime chat too as well. Because
I mean, it certainly will, especially if it's anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess there are a couple of decent wrestling movies that maybe
The wrestler,
Hey, Jokes, have you ever seen No Holds Barred? You too young. You don't even know what that is. See what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Little Jokes. No Holds Barred, man. Hulk Hogan, Zeus Tiny Lister, bro.
Oh!
Now, I don't like you know what I'm talking about.
I know what it is. No, I know what it is. No, I know what it is. I haven't watched it, though. But I know what it is.
There it is. Little Jokes. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, straight up. Okay, so listen. Again, I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. It has been wonderful and awesome fun. I think we might be getting ready to jump into a little more Outriders because why not? Because we got to do that before Mass Effect hits this week, and you can't do anything.
Once Mass Effect hits on Friday, oh boy,
that's
3 games.
So again, for myself, Gage, for Jokes for Sin, and for the awesome Penny, Peng Peng, Gaylord. Do other people call you Peng Peng?
People do. That's my childhood nickname. So
I mean, I get that. I mean, I know that that's a thing, but I just wondering,
yeah.
Do people who don't know you like that call you Peng Peng? Like, is that like you respond to it? Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, like some will call me that, and then I'll just be like, huh? But it's usually shortened to just Peng. Peng is fine too.
Cool. I dig it. I like it. J. Robert Dean says, "Great to see you." He's telling the truth. You feel the same way. We got to figure out how to bring these coasts closer together without some sort of a catastrophe.
Yeah, that would be great.
Figure something out sooner than later. Jerry, always good to see your words, your paragraphs in the comments. You sure you're not a writer instead of an artist, man? Maybe be writing some stuff.
He got
so we're out of here. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. Don't go anywhere just yet. You stay right there, Penny.